Hi, my name is Steve Thorpe, and I want to talk about the myth that is held in a lot of couples therapy and couples coaching circles that communication alone can solve most of your relationship problems. To make this point, I'm going to illustrate an example of a couple that I worked with. They'd been dating for 9 years, had not gotten married, but every time they'd go to a wedding, they would get into a big knockdown, drag out fight. And it was usually the woman who got really triggered and would get really upset. So when they brought this up, there was something that her boyfriend had done to trigger her, but her reaction was really out of proportion with what he had done. So instead of going into a conversation about communication, what I had her do was I had her focus on how she was feeling right as she was getting triggered. What was the feeling in her body? And then I did a hypnotic regression on her, and she went back to when she was 14 years old, and she was at her mom's wedding, her second wedding. She was really upset about this marriage. She was upset about the divorce between her dad and her mom. And she took all these feelings and she basically stuffed them into this decision. What she told herself in that moment is, I will never get married. That was a memory that came up. So she took all these feelings and put them into this declaration and sort of forgot about them. Meanwhile, it was affecting her relationship and all her relationships since then. So we did another regression, and she went back to like 9 or 10 when her parents were fighting a lot, and she just developed a lot of beliefs around relationships don't work, men can't be trusted. She processed this, and she was able to see that she wasn't actually responding to the little triggering event that her boyfriend was doing. She was actually responding to something that had happened in her childhood. And once she processed it, she was in a much better position to go way deeper into her relationship. And it was really this great turning point for her. Had we just addressed this as a communication issue, we would have found out what it was that her boyfriend did to trigger her. We would have talked about how she felt about it, maybe come up with an agreement to do things differently, but it wouldn't have really reached the depth of what was actually going on. So before communication can be a really helpful tool, and it is important to working with couples, it's more important to get to like what's really going on inside, and then that can be communicated. So most of the couples that I work with, the issues that they're fighting over are way out of proportion to the emotions they're feeling around them. So if you find yourself getting in repetitive sort of fights over things that don't really make much sense, but you feel really strongly about them, chances are you're not as upset about the event as you think you are, but that event is triggering a belief in you, like I don't matter, I can't trust you, things will never work out. And that's where the real upset lies. So if you're experiencing this in your life, in your relationship, go ahead and private message me. I'd love to help you out any way I can.